Hi, I'm Rose Bichard-Buttman, NatureScape Outreach Coordinator, and welcome to NatureScape Broward, where over 4,400 residents have certified their yards, businesses, schools, even places of worship, all showing a commitment to our environment with their gardening. NatureScapes basically are Florida-friendly landscapes. Florida-friendly landscapes are landscapes that conserve water, help to reduce pollution, and also create wildlife habitat for our native and migratory wildlife. There are two ways that you can become a NatureScape. One is to be recognized by the University of Florida's Florida Yards and Neighborhoods program. The other is to become certified through the National Wildlife Federation as a backyard wildlife habitat. Either one of these designations will automatically get you recognized by Broward County as a NatureScape. Follow me and we'll visit a few NatureScapes throughout Broward County so you too can be inspired to join your neighbors and certify your garden. Sod has a lot of inputs for fertilizer, pesticides, and a lot of maintenance and mowing. This place of worship has planted the perennial peanut along in the swale areas, which won't require mowing and will require practically no fertilizer whatsoever. Across from it, we have the wonderful native Muhly Grass, which is just coming into bloom now and has a beautiful plum-type blossom on it. It will eventually have little teeny seeds that the migratory birds just love, including the painted bunting. If you can incorporate these plants into your landscape, you are helping the environment, you're helping the birds, and it's beautiful for you too. This newly constructed home was on a totally blank lot. The homeowners put in 98% native plantings here and won an Emerald Award from the county. This home boasts 98% native plants. It has food, water, shelter, and places to raise young, the four elements that you need to be certified by National Wildlife Federation. These plants that are native, that provide berries and seeds on them, provide lots of food for our migratory birds and other wildlife, as well as our local wildlife. So when you plant a lot of natives, look for things that they can pollinate from, that have flowers, and also will produce seeds and berries for the wildlife. Over the past 20 years, this Coconut Creek resident has transformed a barren backyard into over 80% native plantings. You can hear Lyons Road behind me, but it is buffered by this vegetative barrier, which is a good wildlife attracting habitat. This homeowner has worked with her neighbors on either side of her property, sharing native plants to form one continuous wildlife greenway along all of their backyards. You don't have to have all native plants to be a NatureScape. You don't have to rip out everything that you have. You can begin to add in native plants as you go along. As long as the plants that are non-native are not invasive. This yard is a haven for birds and butterflies. They just love the shelter, the seeds, the fruits, the nectar plants. It's a perfect NatureScape. This homeowner has a nice mix of native and non-native plants here in this NatureScape. She's been at this property for 18 years and had frequented Water Matters Day every year. She's gotten trees from Water Matters Day. We have some beautiful Jamaican capers here, huge specimens, a beautiful Lignum vitae, Bahama strongbark. If you haven't been to Water Matters Day, please join us. We're the second Saturday in March every year at Treetops Park. So check your local papers and join us for free trees. This young family did a beautiful residential redo here in Rio Vista. They've incorporated this beautiful legacy gumbo limbo that was transplanted in here to keep in keeping with the neighborhood in Rio Vista. They brought in these beautiful bay rums, these native trees across here, and they've reduced some of the sod out front with perennial peanuts. They have lots of native plants incorporated into this landscaping. Out back we have a lovely private seating area incorporating both native and non-native plants. We have some beautiful native green buttonwoods and some Florida thatch palms mixed in with some iris and some rufus palms. It really gives you a nice, cozy, secluded effect back here. This gem of a landscape stands out in its Coral Springs neighborhood with its diverse plant palette that integrates native plants with exotics and also uses sound environmental practices, including composting. There are 2 compost bins in the back of the property, and she recycles her coffee grounds and her plant material to help augment the soil with her plantings instead of purchasing all those bags of soil. Protecting our waterways is a shared responsibility. We encourage using less fertilizers and pesticides that can wind up in our groundwater and ultimately in our drinking water supply. The homeowner conserves water and protects the waterfront by providing a natural vegetative buffer to capture runoff and pollutants and help prevent algae blooms. This home in Pembroke Pines represents a model NatureScape property by using Florida-friendly landscaping principles, retrofitting traditional irrigation with drip irrigation and mini sprinklers in the front, while a rain barrel supplies water to the landscaping in the back. Native plants attract many birds and butterflies. This University of Florida, Florida Yards and Neighborhoods recognized property uses the principles of Florida-friendly landscaping. Certainly, right plant, right place, watering efficiently, fertilizing appropriately, mulch, attracting wildlife, managing yard pests, and recycling are all done here. Bees, birds, butterflies, they pollinate 1 out of every 3 bites of the food on our plate. They are very important. In order to have a butterfly garden, you need to have both nectar plants and larval plants, and every butterfly is host specific to the plant that she lays her eggs on. This here is a giant milkweed plant. We can see a monarch caterpillar on here. So mommy monarch will lay her eggs on the undersides of the leaves, and you'll get these caterpillars that come out and they will eat this plant and only this plant. So they're not going to eat the other plants in your garden. And then they'll go off, form their chrysalis, and become a butterfly. If you live in a condo or you have a small patio, you can still have a NatureScape. You can still certify your garden with National Wildlife Federation if you have the 4 elements: food, shelter, places to raise young, and water. Now here we have a small raised container. We've got some nectar plants in it. The citrus plant in a container is a larval host plant for the swallowtail butterfly. Next to it we have a small container garden with native salvia in it as nectar plants, and I believe there's some herbs in there as well. Parsley can be a larval plant as well as dill, so you could add some herbs in. All you would need in this would be a puddling station, some water source, and you would have all the elements that you need to certify your little butterfly garden on your balcony. We're at this charming seaside inn in Hollywood that has dual inns across the street, loaded with native and exotic plants that are non-invasive, butterfly plants. Many birds abound on the property, and they are committed to environmentally enhance the property with the use of solar panels, rain barrels, and composting, as well as recycling. So this property is both Florida Yards and Neighborhoods and National Wildlife Federation certified. So it's a perfect NatureScape business. Well, you've seen some very diverse, beautiful NatureScapes throughout our whirlwind tour of Broward County, but I want you to understand that you don't need a large yard in order to become a NatureScape. We're here in Lighthouse Point at a townhouse, and this resident has a tiny little alcove at the entrance of her house. She has all of the elements to be registered with National Wildlife Federation as a wildlife habitat. She has butterfly garden there, she has a water source, and she is a NatureScape. We hope you enjoyed the videos of our NatureScapes throughout Broward County. Remember, if you would like to get your property certified as a NatureScape, there are 2 ways that you can do that. The first would be to be recognized by the University of Florida Yards and Neighborhoods program. Or you can get certified with National Wildlife Federation as a wildlife habitat. Either one of these 2 designations will automatically get you recognized as a NatureScape in Broward County. Gardening for butterflies, birds, and other neighborhood wildlife can be a lot of fun, it's rewarding, and it's also beneficial for our environment. I hope you will consider joining the other 4,700 NatureScapes in Broward County and becoming another link in our wildlife corridor chain.